You wake up and your phone is already warm from the weight of the night. A notification flashes, your thumb moves, and a small tide of satisfaction washes over you. Minutes stretch into an hour. You tell yourself you'll rest later, but the list of small gratifications, messages, likes, quick videos, keeps pulling. Why does rest feel so impossible right now? The short answer is dopamine, but the full story is more complicated and far more human. Dopamine is often described as the brain's pleasure chemical, but that's an oversimplification. It is better known as a signaler of motivation and prediction. When you anticipate something rewarding, a message, a sweet treat, the end of a stressful task, dopamine activity rises. It fuels curiosity, it encourages action, and it helps learning by marking what's worth repeating. Evolution designed this system to nudge us toward food, shelter, social bonds, and other survival behaviors. In modern life, however, dopamine reacts to a much broader set of stimuli, many of which are immediate and endless. What makes resting uniquely difficult is how dopamine responds to variability and unpredictability. The brain loves surprises. A predictable reward, like a morning coffee you always enjoy, produces a steady, moderate dopamine signal. But an unpredictable reward, like the tiny uncertainty of what you'll find scrolling through a feed, causes dopamine to spike more intensely. This is the same mechanism that keeps a gambler leaning over a slot machine. Variable, intermittent rewards create a loop, anticipation builds, action is taken, and the occasional big hit reinforces the behavior. Over time, this loop recalibrates what feels rewarding. Rest, by contrast, is low in novelty and immediate payoff. It's a quiet plateau rather than a spike, and it doesn't trigger the same dopamine fireworks. There's another layer. Modern environments provide constant cues that remind the brain rewards are available. Notifications, red dots, banners, these are environmental triggers. Each cue primes the dopamine system, increasing urge and attention even before reward arrives. This chronic cueing can shift baseline expectations. Tasks that once felt satisfying become less rewarding unless they promise frequent, rapid feedback. Rest, which is inherently feedback poor, starts to feel dull, unsatisfying, or even anxiety-provoking because it offers little in the way of immediate validation. Stress and sleep also play crucial roles. Chronic stress elevates levels of certain neurotransmitters and hormones that interact with dopamine pathways, often leading to reduced sensitivity. When dopamine receptors are less responsive, people seek stronger or more frequent stimulation to attain the same feeling. Sleep deprivation compounds this. Lack of sleep disrupts dopamine regulation and heightens impulsivity, making rest feel both more necessary and more unreachable at the same time. So, what can be done? Understanding how dopamine shapes behavior offers practical strategies. First, reduce cues, silence non-essential notifications, remove app icons from view, and create boundaries around environments that trigger scrolling. Second, introduce rewarding but non-dopamine hijacking activities. Brief walks, non-digital hobbies, or social interactions can offer steady, predictable satisfaction that recalibrates reward expectations. Third, practice deliberate rest-scheduled, intentional breaks where the goal is pause rather than productivity. Paradoxically, setting an objective for rest makes it a predictable reward, which the brain can learn to accept. Finally, prioritize sleep and stress reduction. Small improvements in sleep quality and stress management restore dopamine sensitivity and make low-key rewards feel genuinely pleasurable again. This isn't a moral failing or a lack of willpower. It is the product of a brain designed to seek out rewards, now living in a world engineered to deliver them in constant, unpredictable bursts. By reshaping our environments and habits, we can recalibrate our reward systems. Rest need not compete with dopamine's siren call. With mindful changes, it can become its own kind of reward, quiet, restorative, and finally, possible.